Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Open House, and as you can see, I've been joined by Chris McDermott. How are you, Chris?
Greg, I'm very well, thank you.
It is bloody good of you to join us,
You don't mean that at all.
I do so. I enjoy talking to people like you. Now, I've watched you from afar in two spheres of influence. One is football, and now media. Can't get away from you, mate.
No, you can turn me off. That's the good thing. You don't have to watch me on TV.
Or turn you down.
Click that button. Click that button.
And the other one is something that I think you're very, very proud of, is Little Heroes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your charity. Let's start with footy. Inaugural Crows captain back in 1990. 91 is when they started. It's really interesting watching the leadership. So when you were captain there, it was a lay-down Bazaar. And then I think it was McGuinness, which probably pretty much chose himself. Then Bickley.
Yep.
And then the Gru man.
Correct.
Then Goodwin. Now Crows have got to, who the hell do we pick? There's nobody there that's springing out probably for the first time in their history.
It is absolutely for the first time. Always been a very smooth transition, that one, the handing over the baton, if you like it. I mean, the moment Bickley sort of started to evolve at West Lakes, we knew he was captain material. The moment Rashudo walked into the change room, you knew he was going to toss the coin at some stage. Simon Goodwin, again, a seamless transition from Roo to Goody. Not so the case now. No. I mean, a couple of blokes who are likely candidates, but Nathan Van Berlo, Ben Rutten, obviously, Paddy Dangerfield, no doubt. You just get the feeling all aren't quite no-brainers. No. It's always been a no-brainer. I think Rutten's the best of the options at the moment. His game is in very good nick. I think if you're going to captain the team, you need your game to be in good order. His game's in good order. Doesn't have too much to worry about it. We know he's going to play week in, week out. Super resilient. Gets a good view of the game these days. I think you can captain the team from fullback, so he'd be my most likely alternative. I think in 2 years' time, Dangerfield will be cherry ripe. Fantastic. He'll be a captain for 10 years.
Couldn't agree more. Does it show a flaw in the leadership program? Neil's very keen on this leadership program. Ray McLean's program. Yeah. Does it actually, just thinking about it, does it show a flaw that somebody hasn't been groomed or?
See, I'm not a believer in it. I reckon the leadership, what they do is can make you a better leader, but they can't produce a leader out of nothing. And I always believe they're born, and you are just. I don't know, it's a gift. Yeah. You know, it was certainly a gift with Rashudo, certainly a gift with Bickley. Goodwin, I think, has developed into the role. I'm not quite sure it was natural for him, but he's certainly been a very good one. So I'm not convinced. I think the old days, one captain, one person that leads from the front is the way to go. Not convinced their leadership group works. Thinks it works for some. I think it worked for Sydney because they're a one team in a big town and they're a real family. You can't really step outside the family. You get lost in Sydney if you do. Yeah. So I think it works in that town. I'm not convinced it's worked anywhere else.
It's interesting. And talking to Gilbert and Oka, who does some work with the All Blacks, they've followed a very similar model and have gone back to more of an autocratic now. So the coach is starting to make more decisions. The captain is starting to make more decisions without this big team of
We're done. Footballers are traditionally done, you know. We've been done for 150 years. We're going to be done for the next 150. In terms of that, it's got to be about the game. You know, footballers are very insular. You've got to worry about yourself. Worry about yourself. That's the number one priority in terms of how you are part of a team. Not a lot of blokes have got another string to their bow where they can say, okay, got myself to worry about. Now I can worry about the team. I can worry about making sure Moulton gets a kick. It's hard enough getting one for myself, but so. Not a lot of blokes can do that naturally without impacting on their game. That's the issue for me.
No, really good. Let's get back to Cornsey. A bit of success early on, 91, 92 even, I think.
93 was great, yeah. 93 was the one. 91 good, you know, just missed out on finals. 92, bit of a learning year, up and down. 93 into a prelim final, 7 goals up. Jarman has a shot, 20 metres out, dead in front. Gets distracted by a lady behind there with her top half up, half down. Misses the unmissable. We're out.
And we're out.
So we're 18 years down the track, have not forgiven him. We've sent him to Perth to get over there until you're forgiven. So he's coming back. All is forgiven.
What was Corns like?
Oh, I'd had Graham for 5 or 6 years prior to that at Connell, so we'd known enough about each other. We'd blued a lot. I mean, that was the beauty in those days. Captain, coach, we disagreed on a lot of things, but enormous respect. He trained you hard. He was super professional, a little bit ahead of his time. Not a massive game planner. I mean, had a very basic game plan, but it was about discipline. It was about fitness. It was about structure. Very good for his time.
Fantastic.
It was the right time when he moved on, don't get me wrong. When he left in 94, or the club decided to part company in 94, it was time.
Yeah.
But I think they made the wrong move. Robert Shaw.
Yeah. I was going to ask you. Yeah. Go on, tell us.
Well, it was just the wrong move. Michael Taylor was in the camp at that stage, and one of the great football people, I think, Michael Taylor, probably just had was a little warmer than Graham. Yeah. Graham had this side to it. Michael was always his sidekick and did it well. I thought they should have just handed it to Michael, and it would have been a pretty seamless transition. Robert Shaw comes in, 52-card pickup it was, and just set the camp into disarray for 2 years. I mean, it was crazy.
They just wanted a Victorian, didn't they?
Didn't care.
No, just, you're available.
One step over the border, they would have taken the first bloke they saw. It happened to be Shorey. And, look, let's face it, maybe the 2 years the club had to have, success came pretty quickly afterwards. So who's to argue?
Now, footy back then's played very differently to footy these days. I don't know if you watched, you would have, I'm sure, St Kilda chipping it away, 20 points down in the last quarter, instructions not to get hurt before finals. I'm just going, I don't get it. Your comment on that?
Oh, it's a different beast. I mean, we were talking about the game, and I can't ever remember kicking backwards in my entire career. And, I played for 20 years and don't once think I kicked back. Handball back, but only once, never, chain of handballs back, never concede ground and never hold it up. I mean, you just played the game to the death. If you were a point up, you just banged it forward and let somebody else fight it. It was all about getting the ball as far away from your goal as you possibly can. Now it's about maintaining possession, and that scares me. So I love the modern game, don't get me wrong. I think it's great, I think it's fast, I think it's furious, I think it's tough.
Skillful.
It's super skillful, it's super professional, but gee, I'm glad I played in a different era.
How would you have gone?
I'd have gone very slowly. I think you adapt. Everybody adapts. I'm not convinced the game is. It's more up tempo. It's more constant. I'm not convinced it's faster. I'm not convinced you have to be faster to play it. And I think you always pick it up. If you're good enough, you pick it up. Modern game's an interesting one. It evolves all the time. It changes rapidly. In 2 years' time, we'll be saying, "Gee, remember a couple of years ago what they used to do? They don't do it anymore."
And I think that's life, isn't it? Life seems to be evolving.
It's super fast. I mean, 20 years ago, life was slow paced. We didn't have mobile phones. I couldn't get hold of you. We'd spend Fridays down the pub at lunch, and it was pretty cruisy. Things have changed a little bit.
What's going on? Your media involvement, you do seem to be everywhere, mate. You're obviously loving it. Your comments are listened to. You're still, I reckon, your media is how you played your footy, mate. Straight down the line. You're not afraid of what people think. No, which is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Are you enjoying it?
Love it. I think it's great. I mean, it's, you can go and watch the game and, have all care and no responsibility, which is great. No headaches at the end of it. I mean, I tried coaching for a while and was obviously not very successful with that, so North Adelaide people can turn back on now. I am gone, I'm not coming back, so I won't try that one again. Media's great fun. You get to see the game, do something I love. I mean, I'm blessed. It is a gift to be involved in the game in that capacity and be able to earn a living out of it. So good fun. It's semi-serious, hopefully, I just give an opinion. I'm not right, I'm not wrong, it's just opinion. That's what the game's all about. Your opinion, my opinion, anybody else's opinion. I mean, even the greats are wrong. So that's the beauty of it, I think.
That's what we enjoy about it. You never sort of sit on the fence, mate. You've got a few of your boys in your area, media area, that sort of sit on the fence a little bit. Love the fact you're straight.
Half of them hate you, half of them love you. If you do that, then you're probably going all right.
Yeah, exactly right. Now, favourite player, well, not favourite player, best player you ever played with?
Wow.
Come on.
Best player
ever played with?
Peter Carey in local footy. I mean, magnificent. I played with Kernahan as a youngster. Didn't appreciate him because, we were mates from 8 years of age. It was just, he was him. He was no superstar, but obviously was. Gary McIntosh, played a couple of state games with him and just adored playing against him. Just fantastic. None tougher in the caper. An Andrew Jarman, a Sean Wren, a young Mark Rasciuto, a Ben Hart, a Mark Bickley. Cast a and just have one game with them. Or I played a game with Malcolm Blight. We played a state game, Woodville Barracan, when I was a kid. Idolised Malcolm Blight. Played one state game at the Wacker and we kicked 30 goals, beat WA by 15. He's kicked 5 goals, 6. Night before he's on the guard. Not sure. I'm sure he snuck one in the morning of the game as well. Goes out and has, as a 32-year-old and has a dozen shots on goal in a state game. Just doesn't get any better than that.
Did you ever play with Barry Robran, or is it before your?
Nah, just Barry was before me, so he was sort of late 70s, mid to late 70s.
Was it?
Yeah, so missed him. Played against Russell Ebert a couple of times. So sort of just snuck into that old era where we got to play against Ebert and Davies and a couple like that, but missed Robin, arguably the greatest of them all.
Dirtiest player you ever played against?
I was lucky enough to play in a couple of games against David Granger, and I was down one end of the ground and he was down the other. I was terrified. I didn't go near him. Walked closely past Robbie Muir one day when he was playing with the Eagles. Said, "G'day, Rob. Yeah, see you later as well." So no, if I played against somebody scary, I would.
You're out of there.
I'll just show you to stand over.
That is so not true. But
it is true. I'm telling you.
Extraordinarily scary. Change tact, Little Heroes.
Yep.
McGuinness McDermott changed the name. Little Heroes, by the way, I think is an absolute ripper. Straight back to the kids.
Yep.
These kids are absolute heroes, aren't they?
They are. Look, and again, out of something horrible, something great, we think, and the hope is born. And Tony and I had been at the McGuinness McDermott Foundation. We're nearly 15 years, and sort of leaving the Crows as we were back in the mid-90s. This evolved through a chance meeting with a couple of young boys that had cancer and unfortunately died within sort of 12 or 18 months. We were in a good position where we could influence the media, and the foundation was created. Something we're both very proud of. I've always said that it's the best thing we've ever done. Yeah. But like anything, you put your name to it, you take a little bit of risk, you've got to be mindful of the brand, mindful of the product, and for us, the product is the kids and their families. And once you step over the line, compromise it in any way, for me, it's a deal breaker.
There's been a fair bit of rumour, innuendo, I can't even spit out the word as to why you've changed names. Do you want to just set the record straight?
Well, from my perspective, the brand was damaged. I mean, the rumours were around the place, and it become so damaging to the foundation and to the people that we support that we couldn't go along as we were anymore. Couldn't, in respect, be branded and walk alongside or put our name to a Brock's or a Foodland or a Bosch without understanding that there was some collateral damage to their brand. Yep. They were experiencing it. I wouldn't be responsible for it. We couldn't be responsible for it. It was unfair. Sure. For me, that was a deal breaker. The option was close the doors, wrap it up and say, gee, it's been good, or rebadge, rebrand, and continue to build on, I guess, the good work we'd hoped we'd done in the previous 13, 14, 15 years. Flick the switch, Little Heroes Foundation is born. That's what we are today, and let's hope that's what we are for the next 15 plus years. And
I'm sure you will. Just from our point of view, really glad you've done it. The Brock Group did start to feel a little bit of that.
Yep.
And look, so pleasing to have Chris right behind you, 300%, mate.
Well, you've got a big responsibility, fella, because you've got 42Ks to run.
Yes, we're running the marathon with you guys. Really looking forward to it too. Started training, just been to the physio for the 58th time this morning.
Well, I'll tell you a little story. My wife ran it last year, so here's your challenge.
Here we go.
We are on record.
Okay.
She'd never run before in her life. 1K, the furthest she'd ever run.
Lovely.
So in the lead up, injections in her knee, injections in her back, wore the little band to get her over the line. Yep. 4 hours 45.
Oh, no.
Yep.
She wins. No, she'll win.
Yep, 4:45.
That's Joe.
Yep.
Very good.
And you know you can't cheat.
No.
So you're on deer, you're on, so that's the challenge.
Joe, fantastic effort. We'll send you this so you can see it.
She sees enough of me, fellas.
I'm telling you, that will not be happening. If I break 5 hours, I'd be extraordinarily pleased. I'm an old man, mate. I'm very old.
How are you?
49.
Okay, well, she got you by a couple of years, but
there you go.
I won't say she is female, so that probably, I wouldn't say that.
That makes it tougher. Just a specific program that we're really pleased to be involved with is the care. I'm not sure what you actually call it.
Family support services.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, look, well, traditionally, McGuinness McDermott, certainly in the first 13 years, was very much about bricks and mortar machinery at the Women's and Children's Hospital. We didn't really get into family support, family care, survivorship. Just didn't think it was our domain, but I guess the more we got to learn about the families and understand, I guess, holes in the market, we thought that there was something that I guess the hospital couldn't do and the people and the kids needed. Family support services, survivorship services, probably family care is what we like to call it now, about looking after kids post-treatment. So they've had their treatment, and there are a range of issues they deal with. Some can be physical, some can be emotional, some can be mental, with education, with rehab. So we are now trying to fill those holes. We've got a physical programs up that just gets the kids' motor skills functioning. We've got an educational program where if they miss enough school, they can get tutored and I guess installed back into the school program, back into the system. And 75%, and this is a damning figure that is talking about collateral damage, 75% of families end in divorce. Kids going through cancer, 75% break up.
The pressure.
Absolutely, stress, it is phenomenal. So we are about some counselling services for them, plus some social programs, kids to the footy, concerts, just making them interact, feeling good. A positive mind does result in a lot of positive outcomes. So that's where we are. That's where a lot of Brock's money's gone to.
Yep.
And, I mean, you go and you see what the kids do and how they experience it. I mean, kids now walking upstairs that couldn't walk upstairs, just things that I guess we take for granted that are major hurdles for them to overcome. Art therapy is another one which they're really taking to. So that's where your hard-ons going, fella.